G'day traders, welcome to wrap up of the market for Tuesday the 22nd of October. So let's get straight into having a little bit of a look at the longer term charts. So we've got up the 15-minute chart here. Just want to add in a support resistance line. When something becomes evident, I'll add it in. So we didn't have this line as we traded today, but the close of today, we've seen a bit of a swing low, a significant low point in the cash market that's gone higher from, and that matches up with a couple of these points over here. So we've hit this area, this price area, 3 times and hit it from above and below. So that really consolidates or signifies a significant area within the market. So we'll put that on there, and that'll be certainly significant in trading Wednesday's market. But as far as today's market is concerned, we just had these 2 points here. So I've got this line drawn in right down the bottom. And when we have a look at the 1 minute chart in a second, obviously we didn't come down there. We never got down towards that point. So let's have a look. So here's the start of the day, and you can see what I've done is just I put a box around the pre-market data. Again, it's just to segment the market, so we can get a feel of where it's going. Straight away, you can see we're not looking to specifically trade the pre-market box, just looking to see what it wants to do. Does it want to find resistance and head back? Does it want to continue up? And straight away we've broken outside this pre-market box, which is just putting a box around the most significant high and low point of this pre-market, and straight away it heads up. So momentum direction starts heading on the upside. Then attached to that, if we get outside that pre-market box, I want to then box the 10 o'clock. Once we get to 10 o'clock, because that's we've talked about this a bit. It's a significant time of the market. It's like the unofficial opening of the market at 10 o'clock. All the economic news comes out. Sort of a lot of traders just sit and wait for 10 o'clock to pass, and then they get going. They sort of want to establish a trend, and 10 o'clock seems to be the mark when a lot of traders get going. What happens but what I want to do is mark a significant high or low point at 10 o'clock. So as we're hitting 10 o'clock here, the market's right at its highs and it's pushing higher. So I'm just waiting. Sometimes you can wait all day, but most of the time it will get some sort of pullback around 10 or a little bit after 10, and then the market's pull back here. So as it's pulling back, mark in this significant high point, and then we can use that again. It's a way to segment the market. If the market wants to come back at it, it's a trading opportunity to trade back towards its highs, or even break this particular area. Or the other side is sort of come back, find resistance, and not be able to push through, and then come back within the range of what we call mean reversion. There's a couple of different ways to look at it. And ideally, we want to watch what the market's doing in respect to this area, and in line with other markets. So in this particular day, the trends just started pushing up straight away. There's no sort of pullback, as we said, for quite a while, up until just before 10:30. So we're basically looking for pullbacks. Even though this market's going up through here, if you're just to buy here or try and buy here, there's nothing to really gauge an entry there. So it's all well and good to see in hindsight now that it's gone up, but there's nothing to sort of gauge it against. So you could buy at any point, and then also the market turns around and has a bit of a pullback and stops you out. So what we're doing is waiting for pullbacks and then seeing where the market wants to head as far as heading back to a high point or a low point. So this particular case, the market was very strong on the upside, and it's quite an unusual day that it's so strong up and then so strong down. You don't normally see it's such a straight line up and a straight line down like this. So for that reason, it's a little bit unusual today. But what I want to say is, okay, so we've got a movement up here. There's nothing we can really do. We're just waiting for the pullback. As it's pulling back here, we're going, okay, what's happening? Is the market wanting to pull back, eventually hold and go higher, or is it just starting mean reversion, coming back from the range and starting a new trend? And the hints were there that it really did want to start another trend to the downside. And where we get that from is, just try and pull over the NASDAQ here. If you watch the NASDAQ, look at this area here, where all the other markets were pushing higher and higher and higher, and the NASDAQ was just resisting the buyers. It was holding off. It just really wanted to get going on the downside. Then all of a sudden, when all the other markets started getting a pullback, the NASDAQ just started shooting down, and all of a sudden it's straight back at its cash market lows, as the other markets. So when the 1 minute market that we trade here, as it's having a pullback here, the NASDAQ was already at its lows. So what's that say? there's pressure, there's direction, there's momentum from other markets, and there's a lot of sellers across the board trying to push this market down. So it became quite probable that this was looking for a downtrend or a move back towards the lows. So that's where other markets really come in handy, as far as getting a little bit of a look into the future, so to speak. It's what it means is, because all these markets are linked, they're all based upon US indices. If you see a market selling off like that, it means there's sellers around. You're going to start seeing sellers come into all the markets, and that's exactly what's happened. As far as a trading opportunity, again, it's sort of just one straight line, which, like I said, doesn't normally happen like that. You normally see these ebbs and flows and pullbacks and things. That's just the way the market naturally moves. So even though we could see, as we were doing this in the live trading room, we could see this down move coming. There was no real opportunity to get on it. It just went straight back to its cash market lows in just one sort of straight line, and not a lot of eventuality. Then from there, we talked about what could potentially happen from here. The likelihood was that it just consolidates and goes sideways, which is sort of what it's done in a little bit of a range here, because we've got two big movements. The market becomes a bit exhausted, and as a result, volume really starts to drop off after these two big moves, and then that made the market shift basically sideways right till we basically traded up until just past lunchtime, around about 2 o'clock, which is here. So, as far as today, what we can take out today, even though there's a fair bit of movement, not a lot of trading opportunities, but just a reminder that it's always, we talk a lot about utilizing other markets and watching other markets, and today's a great example of how we saw, as soon as this market started to pull back, we saw the Nasdaq shift and really move to the downside after trying to hold off the upside and really get going with its sellers, and then that followed through, and we saw the sellers come into the market that we trade, the ES market, the S&P 500. So that's a wrap up for Tuesday, and we'll back to do it all again on Wednesday.